Okay, so this question's for both of you. How, as parents, did you feel when your child got diagnosed with epilepsy?
Do you want to go first?
I'll go first. I think it was shocking because we weren't expecting that diagnosis, even though I had looked up all the symptoms and knew that it was absence epilepsy. But once we'd spoken to a specialist who told us it was glass half full of what you had rather than fitting, it helped.
And I think for me, it was, you look at it and it's almost your child is so precious to you, and suddenly having a defect in your child and knowing that you had to go through that, it's very worrying. We're also just looking at the history of before we had Mallory as a child. We had a couple of miscarriages, and I think you were so precious to us, so it was very difficult to sort of take this news that you had something that could turn out to be significant. Initially it was just absences, but yeah.
This one's just for Mum. How do you cope with your child's diagnosis?
I think complete and utter panic. You don't want to let them out of your sight. You struggle to cope with it, but as the years go on, and we have the support of the NHS, we learn how to cope with it. But obviously, as you got older, it got worse and worse, and the older you got, the worse it became. So I think very, very, very hard to deal with.
Okay, this one's for Dad. Do you as parents feel supported, like just by the epilepsy community as a general, or doctors?
Well, there's twofold there. So first of all, medically, I felt that the support we got was okay, but it could have been better. I do feel that when we see these specialists, they should be able to give us a lot more insight. It's very much just keeping you on medication and just sort of keeping an eye on that and making sure that all sort of tracked. But yeah, I think they could have done a lot more, especially to support us as parents rather than anything else. From the epilepsy community, I think that's probably more of something that Mum can answer, because Mum did reach out to a lot of people, and there was a lot of useful discussion forums and documents that Mum could read through, and I think we definitely was on a learning path all the way through the time. So especially when we're having to balance the medication, and that was very difficult to sort of get right, having that feedback of people who were suffering similar and understanding some of the different symptoms that were occurring on your medication. That was crucial. So the community was very supportive. I think the medical side, I think they could have done more.
Okay, for Mum, what do you think about epilepsy medication as a whole, good or bad?
Well, it depends on, as we've learnt, the individual. Every single person with epilepsy has different reactions to different medicines, and they can't pinpoint one person is going to react to one particular medicine. So there's still not enough knowledge about it. I also don't feel there was any outside support from any communities in epilepsy at all. It was very hard to get any info from anybody. And I think the actual NHS support was awful, and I think they let us down many, many times.
Okay. For you, how does it make you feel when you see your child having a seizure?
As a parent, you want to protect your children all the way through their life, everything, you love them so much, and to see your child go into a fit, the first time it happened was very harrowing. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know whether you were going to come out of it, and I think there was a sense of like really panic, and we were just like trembling with fear all the way through the whole thing. I think as I look at it now, where you've had I think you've had three fits, so I've learned how to sort of handle them now. So you understand that the body has to do a reset, It's almost like rebooting a computer. So just sort of seeing that kind of trigger and knowing that when you come back round, you're going to be exhausted because what it's doing to you internally. So I think that's it. And one of the things I said to Mum about you was it was important that she had to deal with one of them, and that one in Croatia she had to deal with. So I think that whilst she probably wouldn't have enjoyed that experience, I think that experience is critical for both of us to understand how to handle that going forward.
Okay. The last question is for both of you. Do you think that epilepsy is represented enough as a whole? What could change?
Well, I think absolutely more tests on different medicines on different people. They need to know why some people react differently. Why do some medicines work for some and not for others? And more testing needs to be done. More EEGs, more scans on brains.
I'm just going to clarify. I meant like represented in media and like people shown.
Well, it isn't it? It's kept quite quiet, really. I mean, the Epilepsy Society, which has been going for quite some time, are now trying to put that bill through Parliament to give children special help at school who have epilepsy. But how many years has that taken to even try and get that bill passed? So they're still very, very behind.
I think awareness, 100% awareness needs to be better. Also, people who've got epilepsy, carrying something that is not very visible, but something that is really going to help. So having that awareness that people can sort of see that there might be like a small ribbon on a bag rather than a big like bracelet that says I've got epilepsy. Just the colour of a ribbon might trigger that kind of thing. I think things like that and sharing that with the community, I think is really important. I think the other challenge that we've got with this condition, when you're sort of looking at the cost of doing an awareness campaign like the government sort of running something like that, is that good use of the money against doing that against maybe like cancer, which is a bit more life-threatening. So I think I can sort of understand why the other conditions are prioritised over epilepsy, but I think there is definitely something that could be done to sort of improve that.
Okay.